The fastest way to lose respect is not being mocked, it is what you do right after. One small joke lands, and suddenly you are trying to fix your face, fix the room, fix the version of you people just saw. That is the first leak, not the joke, the repair. You're in a meeting, you finish making a point. Then someone across the table smiles and says, "That sounded more confident than it actually was," small enough to call it a joke, sharp enough to make the room look at your face. That is the dangerous part. For 1 second, the whole room is not listening to your point anymore. It is reading your reaction. You laugh too hard, explain too fast, add context nobody asked for. Now the room knows you were hit. The joke did not make you look weak. Your need to recover did. Your sovereignty begins at your reaction. This is not about becoming quiet. It is about catching the moment your explanation stops clarifying and starts begging. These are 5 mistakes that make you look weak when you explain yourself. And mistake 4 is the one that teaches people how to test you again. 1. When you explain the joke before anyone asks. The first mistake happens early, too early, before anyone asks, before the room even knows whether the joke matters. Your face gets hot, your mouth moves before your position does. You say, "No, that's not what I meant. I was only explaining what happened." It sounds like clarity, but it lands like damage control. No one asked for proof. No one put you on trial. You walked in there yourself. And that is when the room stops watching the joke. It starts watching you. The rushed smile, the extra sentence, the little panic in your timing. People do not need the whole story. They only need to see what makes you move. That is where status drops. Quietly. Not because they know the truth, because they saw the pressure work. A man who was not touched does not work that hard to prove he is untouched. The more you try to kill the impression, the more real it becomes. So the move is not to perform calm. That is still performance. The move is to stop feeding the frame. Let the line sit. Take one breath, then answer. From position. Maybe. The point still stands. And stop there. Do not decorate it. Do not turn one sentence into a courtroom. That pause is not empty. It is control. If one joke can make you defend your image, one serious question can make you defend your whole worth. And that is where the next mistake starts. 2. When you try to prove you belong, some questions do not attack you. They lower your seat. You are in a promotion interview. The table is quiet. Your manager has your project summary in front of him. He looks up and says, "Do you really think you are ready to lead this team?" No raised voice, no open disrespect. But something in the room shifts. Your status just got touched. And now everyone is watching what you do with that pressure, not what you say first, what you become under it. The room does not need your full history. It needs to see whether you can hold the seat without asking the table to give it back to you. But you do not answer from position. You start proving you deserve to be there. I led the rollout. I stayed late when it got messy. I covered the gaps nobody saw. Your record may be solid. Your reaction just made it look negotiable. That is the damage. Truth is not the only thing people read. They read posture. They read speed. They read whether your answer sounds like evidence or a request to be accepted. You are not speaking like a man who belongs at the next level. You're speaking like a man asking the room to let him belong there. And once the room feels that, they do not just judge your answer. They judge whether you can carry the seat. The more you prove, the less seated you look. Over-explaining does not strengthen your proof. It weakens your position. Every extra sentence says, I need you to see me correctly before I can stand here. That is not clarity. That is dependency. A stronger answer does not drag your whole past into the room. It gives one clean proof. Yes, I'm ready. The last project showed that. Then stop. Let the sentence stand. Do not kneel beside it. Do not keep touching the answer until it starts looking unstable. One proof, no panic. One answer, no audition. If one question about your work can make you defend your whole worth, one guilt accusation can make you trade your boundary for a clean image. And that is where the next mistake begins. 3. When you trade your boundary for the image of being good. The most expensive explanation is the one you give to escape one ugly label. You are on a video call at 11:40 at night. Your alarm is set for 5:40. You have been working all day. They called 3 times while you were busy. You answered late. Now the call already feels cold. No yelling yet, just that tight silence through the screen. You say, I can't keep stopping work every time you call. The screen goes quiet, punishment quiet. Then they say, so now loving me is a burden? There it is. Your boundary just got renamed. Not debated. Renamed. You were talking about time. Now you are proving you are not cruel. That is why it works. It pulls you away from the line and into image repair. Now the issue is not your schedule. It is your goodness. This is where most men fold. Not because the boundary is wrong, because being seen as wrong feels unbearable. So the weak reaction comes out fast. That's not what I meant. I care about you. Short sentence. Big surrender. The moment that comes from panic. You are no longer holding the line. You are asking permission to keep your boundary and still keep your image clean. That is how the line starts dying. Not from one argument. From the moment your image becomes more important than your position. The accusation does not need to be true. It only needs to make you negotiate with yourself. The moment you negotiate with yourself, the line is no longer yours. And if you pay, you still lose the night. You still lose the line. And they learn the word works, all to escape one dirty name. That is not kindness. That is fear dressed as love. So refuse the trade. They get to call you selfish. They do not get to move the line. Say, call it what you want. The boundary stays. Cold, short. No decoration. They can keep the accusation. They do not get the boundary. Accusation cannot buy obedience, because if one ugly word can make you abandon your position, then that word is no longer a word, it is a handle, and whoever holds it can move you. So stop trying to look good to the person using guilt as leverage. Let the label burn. That discomfort is the price of self-respect. Pay it. If one private accusation can make you abandon your line, one public distortion can make you chase your image in front of everyone, and that is where bad faith gets louder. 4. When you let bad faith make you chase. Bad faith does not need to beat you. It only needs to make you chase. You are in a project group chat. Deadline is Friday. Someone asks who can take the final task. You write, I can help Friday. I can't take the whole task. Clean, clear, finished. Then someone replies, so basically, you don't want to help. That is not confusion. That is a knife with a smile on it. They took your limit and dressed it as selfishness. Now your hand wants to move. You can feel it, the little urge to type fast, to fix it before the group believes it. That is where they catch you, not in the task, in the panic to control what everyone thinks you meant. The weak reaction is the paragraph. No, that's not what I meant. I've helped before. Too late. You're already chasing. Now the group is not reading your limit. They are reading your fear of the label. The moment you chase, the distortion becomes the center of the room. The deadline disappears. The task disappears. Now everyone is watching you explain yourself. You became the issue. Your position is gone. They bent one sentence, and you started working for the bend. Bad faith loves a long explanation, because a long explanation gives it more to bend. So do not give it a paragraph. Give it a nail. Say, that is a distortion of what I said. Nothing else. The shorter you stay, the less material they get. Do not prove you are helpful. Do not clean your image for the group. Let the line sit there. Now the lie has to stand without your help. If they push again, become shorter. That is still a distortion. Same point. Fewer words. Because the person twisting you is not searching for your meaning. They are testing your fear of being misread. And if that fear controls you, they do not need the truth. They only need a false version of you, strong enough to make you run. This is how the test gets trained. It trains people to use your own explanations against you. They bend your words. You bring more words. They bend those too. Soon you are not communicating. You are handing them rope and calling it clarification. That is how you hang yourself with your own defense. But there is a deeper trap. Some people will not twist your words. They will just go cold and wait for you to explain why you deserve warmth. 5. When you perform for someone withholding approval, the ugliest mistake is explaining yourself to someone who already knows you want their approval. Nobody has to attack you. They just pull approval away and watch you move toward it. You send a late-night message to someone whose silence still changes your mood. You said one honest thing, enough to give them leverage. They let it sit. You check once, then again. That is already the leash. Then they reply, "You're doing too much." 4 words, no warmth, no real answer. Just enough distance to make you feel smaller than the message you sent. 4 words, and now you are trying to shrink your own honesty. They are not arguing with you. They are making you audition for basic warmth. So you start bleeding words. I just care. Don't make that look weak. That is the fall, not because caring is weak, because now your care is on display for someone using distance as leverage. You are not communicating. You are trying to win back warmth. They go cold, and you start proving your value for free. Now, they are not responding to your message. They are managing your access to them. This is where overexplaining becomes submission. Because now you are not defending a point. You are defending your right to be wanted. And the moment you defend your right to be wanted, you give the other person the higher seat. That is the bottom. Begging to be seen by someone enjoying your need to be seen. So, the move is not a better explanation. The move is to stop auditioning. Do not send the second message. Do not add another paragraph. The second message is usually not clarity. It is panic wearing grammar. Do not decorate your value for someone using coldness to control the room. The answer is short. I'm not explaining this twice. Then leave the space alone. No proof that you care. No proof that you are worth treating better. When someone withholds approval, they expect you to fill the silence with self-abandonment. Do not fill it. Let the silence expose the transaction. Because if you have to keep proving your value to keep someone's approval alive, That approval is not respect. It is a quiet form of control. Approval that needs your panic is not respect. And every extra sentence makes the control stronger. When someone goes cold just to make you prove your worth, do not become warmer out of fear. Become still. The person committed to lowering you will never be satisfied by your explanation. They will only be fed by it. You think one more sentence will make them understand. But one more sentence is often the exact price they wanted you to pay. Different scene, same surrender. Oh, different scene, same surrender. You do not look weak because you explain. You look weak when your explanation starts asking for permission. So clarify the point. Do not hand them your whole value. Answer what needs to be answered, then stop. When someone uses disrespect, guilt, distance, or distortion to pull you into over-explaining, they are not only listening to your words, they are watching who gets control of your reaction. That is where respect changes hands. They were not measuring your logic. They were measuring what could move you. This was never about explaining less. It was about knowing when explanation turns into a plea. Because once your words start begging, your position is already moving. Once they see you beg to be understood, they know where to press next. Your sovereignty begins at your reaction. If one sentence can make you chase, one silence can show who still owns himself. Silence is not absence. It is refusal to audition. Subscribe to Stoic Calm Code if you want the next lesson cut from the same nerve. Because over-explaining is only one leak. The next one is faster, one reaction, and respect starts leaving the room.